Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, we're diving into a heavy but crucial conversation surrounding some deeply concerning allegations against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
It's a complicated case, Sharri, and honestly, it's pretty sickening to even talk about some of the details, given the nature of the accusations and the ages of some of the alleged victims.
You're right, Miss Realism. It's a tough one, and we want to be sensitive to all parties involved, while still providing a thorough analysis. For our listeners who might not be fully up to speed, let's start with the basics. Can you give us a brief overview of the accusations against Diddy?
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, Diddy is facing a slew of lawsuits, with multiple individuals accusing him of sexual assault. What makes this even more disturbing is that some of these accusations involve individuals who claim they were underage at the time of the alleged incidents. And these aren't just vague allegations. Some lawsuits go into graphic detail about the alleged assaults. That's right. And what's striking is the pattern that seems to be emerging. Many of these accusations paint a picture of Diddy allegedly using his power and influence in the music industry to take advantage of aspiring artists.
It's a classic case of alleged abuse of power, which is sadly something we see far too often, not just in the entertainment world, but across various industries.
Exactly. You have these young, ambitious individuals hungry for their big break, and they encounter someone like Diddy, who holds immense power in the industry. It creates a situation ripe for potential exploitation, especially when promises of career advancement are dangled as leverage.
It's appalling to think that someone would use their position and influence in such a way. And it makes you wonder how many other stories like this are out there, hidden in the shadows.
That's the really scary part, Sharri. We often only hear the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these types of situations, especially when you have powerful figures involved.
It's a sad reality, but a crucial point to acknowledge. Now, Miss Realism, we've talked about the accusations and the power dynamics at play, but there's another crucial element to consider: the legal complexities of this case. Can you break down some of the key legal concepts involved here?
Definitely. This case hinges on understanding concepts like consent, coercion, and in some instances, even the legal definition of sex trafficking. These aren't always easy concepts to grasp, especially in the context of these specific allegations.
And it becomes even more complicated when you factor in the alleged ages of some of the accusers.
Absolutely. When minors are involved, it raises the stakes significantly. Legally, a minor cannot consent to sexual activity in the same way an adult can. So even if Diddy's legal team tries to argue that any encounters were consensual, that argument goes out the window if the individuals were indeed underage at the time. That's a crucial distinction. And it's worth pointing out that the burden of proof in a criminal case lies with the prosecution. They need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Diddy's actions met the legal definitions of the alleged crimes. Right? It's not about proving whether something did or didn't happen based on who seems more believable. It's about meeting that high bar of legal proof.
Precisely. Now, moving beyond the legal intricacies, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room: the Me Too movement. This case, with its allegations of abuse of power and sexual misconduct, feels very much intertwined with the ongoing conversations sparked by Me Too.
There's no doubt about that, Sharri. The Me Too movement has been a game changer, empowering individuals, often those who were previously silenced, to come forward with their stories of abuse and hold perpetrators accountable.
And it's not just about individual stories. It's about challenging systemic issues that have allowed such behavior to persist for far too long.
Exactly. And in Diddy's case, whether or not these specific allegations result in criminal charges, they're indicative of a larger cultural reckoning.
Powerful figures are no longer immune to facing consequences for their actions.
Right. The era of sweeping these kinds of allegations under the rug is, or at least should be, over. Now, of course, Diddy maintains his innocence, and his legal team is prepared to fight these accusations. We have to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. Everyone is entitled to a fair legal process, but regardless of the outcome of this particular case, the potential consequences for Diddy are massive.
No question about it. If found guilty of even some of these charges, He's looking at a potentially lengthy prison sentence, hefty fines, and irreparable damage to his reputation and legacy. But beyond that, there's a broader societal impact here.
I think you're right. This case forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about power, consent, and accountability, not just in the music industry, but in society as a whole.
Well said, Sharri. At the end of the day, this case is a stark reminder that we still have a long way to go in creating a culture where everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered to speak their truth.